Okay, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining us to present the annual Marcille N. Wood and Human Relations Award. We promote partnership within our boards and commissions, and we are honored to join the Women's Commission in celebrating a few of our community members who actively work to make positive changes within our city.
We understand that this event honors just a small percentage of the many people and organizations in Fort Collins who strive for equity and inclusion, but our purpose is to highlight at least some of the creative efforts that are taking place every day. We welcome this year's recipients. Thank you for working to make Fort Collins a better place for all.
We must thank those who submitted nominations for helping us celebrate an often under-recognized group of people who routinely dedicate their time to the community. We also thank family and friends for coming here this evening to support and honor their efforts.
We welcome our Mayor, Wade Troxel, and Council members Ken Summers, Ray Martinez, Kristen Stevens, and Ross Cuniff, as well as our many city leaders and champions of diversity that choose to take time to be here to honor these community members this afternoon. The Mayor of Fort Collins would like to say a few words, so it's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Wade Troxel.
Well, thank you all. What a great day it is in Fort Collins, and a great day to celebrate these wonderful recipients for these great awards. So welcome to the Human Relations Awards, as well as Women's Commission Marcille N. Wood Award. These awardees are an excellent company, and glad to join us all here today. And this is the 36th Annual Human Relations Awards Ceremony. And the Human Relations Commission should be thanked for their continued support and to be recognized for serving our community in so many ways and embodying the spirit of inclusiveness and giving and altruism that has made Fort Collins a better place for all in our community. And I'd like to thank those that took time to nominate the awardees tonight, and it's an honor that community members recognize them for through their nomination. And also, thank you to family members and friends that are here to support and have been there the whole way through encouragement in their very much of the giving in our community. So the Human Relations Commission back in 1981, we're aware that many in our community were very, could be recognized for their many efforts. And so they often quietly went behind the scenes, these folks in giving of themselves. And they served and inspired others to practice fairness, equality, and brotherhood in the advancement of human dignity. And that was the words that were used back in 1981. And these folks are recognized as being change makers and unsung heroes. And so that's what was the genesis of creating these annual awards. And so the presentation that we're here today, recognized in the 36th year, it was subsequently approved by City Council and sponsored by the HRC. In 1982, the first Human Relations Award was presented to June Audrey Sullivan, and she was a former Army Nurse Corps member and recipient of the American Campaign Medal and a World War II Victory Medal. And she was one of the first that started the first Larimer County Hospice in the basement of what is now the Poudre Valley Hospital Express Lab. And she continued to serve as the director of nursing for many years with passion and dedication. So she was the first recipient of the HRC award. In 1988, it became evident that it was increasingly difficult to just choose one person. And at that time, the awards and are evolved to the current format of 5 categories of youth, adult, senior, police and emergency services, and recognizing an organization. And these awards were created and added to the broader definition of service that includes those within our community who promote acceptance and respect for diversity. So June Audrey Sullivan, when asked what prompted her to her path of service, mentioned it was her heart and replied, "It rang a bell here somewhere within me." And so it's within that spirit tonight that we are hearing the bell, and that it's the bell that's within our hearts that are leading our awardees tonight to a path of service. So I'd just like to congratulate all of our awardees that are going to be recognized shortly. So. And also tonight, we're going to congratulate the Women's Commissions, well, first of all, on their 26th year in presenting the Marcille N. Wood Award. And Kristen Stevens will be making that award shortly. The City of Fort Collins takes pride in our continued efforts to create a community that is welcoming, supporting, and safe, where all citizens have the opportunities for growth and success. And it's with our Women's Commission that we are honored and to participate in an event that recognizes the outstanding men and women who have made significant contributions to this goal and to the positive status of women in our community. So it's these two events here tonight that we're so glad to be here and recognize these awardees tonight for their contributions to our community. So with that, I think I hand it back.
Thank you, Mayor Troxel. We would now like to present the Marcille N. Wood Award. This award is given annually by the Women's Commission to an individual who makes a positive contribution to women's lives in the Fort Collins community. Here to present the award is District 4 Council Member Kristen Stevens, Council Liaison for the Women's Commission. Kristen, would you join me at the front, please?
Thank you all for coming this afternoon to honor the Marcille N. Wood Award winner. I'm honored to be a liaison to the city's Women's Commission, and I want to say that they do really good work in addition to awarding this award. It was a very tough choice this year. They had a lot of great nominees. The annual Marcille N. Wood Award was established in 1992 to acknowledge women and men who have significantly contributed to the status of women in our community. The award is in memory of Marcille Norby Wood, who volunteered in Fort Collins for 40 years. Ms. Wood established or helped to establish the Women's Resource Center, the United Daycare Center, and Volunteers Clearinghouse. She was also president of the League of Women Voters. The Women's Commission annually recognizes those who have followed in her footsteps through their work or volunteer service. This year, the Women's Commission selected Araceli Newman as the recipient of the award. So. Oh, you can stay up here. I'm going to say some nice things about you now. So Araceli was nominated by two different individuals. She's spent the last 6 years serving low-income, marginalized women in the Northern Colorado community. During this time, she became a true leader in the community and is known for her ability to connect people to resources, to organizations, and to one another. Through her time at Vida Sana, she assisted women in meeting their health needs for themselves and for their families. She created opportunities for socializing and promoted community connectedness. She now works as part of a team to preserve and protect manufactured housing in Fort Collins and Loveland. We are proud to have individuals like Araceli in our community. Her work, both past and present, are part of what makes Fort Collins great. Araceli, thank you so much for all you've done for the women of our town. And if you'll stay up here, we'd like to bring some of the nominees. We had great nominees this year, and the Women's Commission would also like to recognize these nominees. So if you're here, if you'll come up front, and we'll take another photo. Michelle Wright, Dr. Shannon Archibek-Engel, Dr. Corey Wong, who was nominated twice, I'm told, Dr. Tasha Marchant, Dr. Janice L. Nerger, Tina Todd, Nikki Larcher, Krista Bayer, and Betsy Craig. So congratulations to all the nominees.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all your efforts and all your work that you've done on behalf of the community. The Women's Commission thanks you.
Thank you all for your work to advance the rights of women. The HRC would like to extend our gratitude to Councilmember Bob Overbeck, who not only served honorably as our City Council member, but also as the HRC's devoted council liaison. Thank you for your service and congratulations on your next step as newly elected Larimer County Assessor. My pleasure to introduce Bob Overbeck.
Thank you very much, Julia. Welcome and congratulations to the recipients of the 36th Annual Human Relations Award. I have had the distinct honor and privilege of serving as the council liaison to the HRC for over 5 years in its 54-year history. On October 8th, 1964, at the request and encouragement of the Fort Collins community, including Colorado State University, Campanos Americanos, the Fort Collins Council of Churches, now known as the Interfaith Council, and other city leaders, Ordinance number 35 was enacted to create the Human Relations Commission. And the mission of the HRC remains much the same today: to serve in an advisory capacity to the City Council and serve the community members of the Fort Collins community by discouraging all forms of discrimination, promoting acceptance and respect for diversity through education, programs, and activities. And the council has really been enthused with the HRC. They've really come up with innovative programming, very dynamic programming, and a lot of credit to our past chair, Vic Smith, and also Julia, the current chair of the HRC. During the past 4 years, the HRC has increased collaboration with other boards and commissions and community stakeholders, like-minded citizen group, and city leaders in order to fulfill the function of serving in an advisory capacity to the City Council. Educational outreach included an 8-part series of destigmatization mental health issues, a 4-part intergenerational series with topics of diversity, planned and presented by youth groups in an interactive form. Also, they presented and listened to and learned from Cracking the Code, a system of racial inequity. Foco Speaks Out, featuring speakers, musicians, and artists who encourage community members to become more invested in cause of diversity, equity, and inclusion in Fort Collins. So really, I want to thank everybody for coming here today, and also, again, want to thank Vic Smith, and please come up here, Vic, and
Thanks, Bob, for being an advocate of the Human Relations Commission, and good luck with your new venture. Just say, you probably know he's on to something else. The painting you see displayed here has a unique history. The artist Peter Coley, who lives in New York City, described the creation of this original work of art in a letter to the recipients of this year's award. I'd like to read his letter to you. This is what Peter wrote to those of you who are getting the award, by the way. Peter painted this in 2017. In honor of the 2017 Fort Collins Human Relation Awards, I was commissioned to create a piece of artwork that represents the meaning and inspiration of the awards. The painting that evolved is entitled Gathering. It consists of many colors, shapes, and textures. Gathering is a coming together of these elements to form a unifying experience of inclusion. My vision and inspiration for this painting came from the concept that a community contains many of these colors, shapes, and textures as well. Your commitment to the community of Fort Collins and your efforts towards acceptance and diversity within it are at the very center of a strong community and are also reflected at the center of the painting. So I'm just saying, this represents you. What emanates out from that place of integrity and generosity has the possibility of reaching and touching countless individuals. I offer my congratulations to you on this very special honor and hope that this painting will help to inspire you and others to continue your service towards community. Sincerely, Peter Coley. So you can give him an applause even though he's in New York City. We are honored to have replicas of the painting over here, and that's the award that the people that are given this award will get. And from Mayor Troxel, actually, and there's also a certificate there too, if you take care of that. Thanks. That sounds great. Thank you. Our first of the 5 HRC award recipients is Christian Dykson. Christy, would you come up, please? Congratulations. I'm going to say something about you, Christian. Are you ready for this? I'm ready. I think it's good to have him here so he can absorb the words, don't you think? I think it's a good thing. Christian is a senior at Fort Collins High School, has been involved in many activities during his high school years. He's a member of the Key Club, Student Council, Model UN, has been involved with the Genesis Project at the community gardens, coordinated a homeless prevention sleep out at the school, and organized Janitorial Appreciation Day at the school. It sounds like he's got ideas that maybe aren't run-of-the-mill ideas. I think that's a cool thing. But the real reason Christian stands out is his ability to see the need and step up to help facilitate worthwhile change. He is always on the lookout for a way that we can make things better in the future. He encourages and motivates others to engage in service as well, all with the underlying value of caring for members of his community. Christian has said that he wants to be a catalyst to unleash the potential of his generation. A catalyst to unleash the potential of his generation. I suspect you are on that path, Christian, and that path will serve you and others well. Congratulations.
Well, hello, everybody. Like you said, my name is Christian Dixon. I am a senior at Fort Collins High School. And I'd like to extend my gratitude and thanks to Miss Matthew, who nominated me. She's in the Social Studies Department at Fort Collins High School, as well as my mom and some of my family who couldn't be here tonight. Thank you to you for your support always. Like you mentioned, I've had the blessing of serving at Fort Collins High School in many capacities, and I just want to reiterate what he said about unleashing the potential of my generation. I've had the distinct pleasure of serving as the president of Student Council and Key Club at my school. And if I can say one thing about that experience, it is that by being there and by being present, I have seen other people just unleashed with service and just on fire for service. And it's just an absolute blessing. It's a blessing to be here tonight to have been able to serve. And thank you all for coming out tonight, for supporting the other awardees. I want to congratulate them as well.
Dr. Jean Runyon will present the next.
It is my privilege to recognize Brittany Otter as this year's recipient of the Human Relations Commission Adult Category Award. Brittany? Brittany often shares her own journey related to disability identity development, and her own journey has contributed to her passion, commitment, and dedication to promoting equity, inclusion, and diversity. Brittany graduated from Western Washington University in 2007 with her bachelor's in political science, economics, and philosophy, where she co-founded the Students for Disability Awareness Club, coordinated 3 consecutive Disability Awareness Weeks events, and co-created the Disability Outreach Center. Afterwards, she spent a year as an AmeriCorps Retention Project Coordinator for the Helping Admit New and Diverse Students program, in which she managed a team of 50 volunteer college student mentors who coached 75 low-income, first-generation and migrant high school students through applying for college and then choosing their academic career. Brittany is now the Coordinator of Disability Support Services at Front Range Community College. In this role, she is instrumental in ensuring that all students have equal access to success. She focuses on the ability in disability. And Britt also currently serves as the chair of the Colorado-Wyoming Association on Higher Education and Disability, the regional affiliate for the National Professional Association for Disability Support Services. She is also making a tremendous impact in our community. And just to share a few of her many contributions, she co-founded Fort Collins Anti-Racism Network in 2016, which became two partner organizations, Anti-Racism Movement, a multiracial organization which focuses on the needs of people of color and people of color as the organization's leadership and audience, and Showing Up for Racial Justice in 2017, which focuses on mobilizing white people for racial justice. She currently coordinates the Unlearning Racism Reads, a monthly book club sponsored by Showing Up for Racial Justice, to encourage learning about experiences of how white supremacy and racism impact lives of people of color in our community and develop capacity for local awareness, action, and change. In 2014-2015, she served as a Circle ally with the Education and Life Training Center, assisting Circle leaders and families find paths out of generational poverty. So please join me in congratulating Brittany Otter, this year's recipient of the Human Relations Commission Award.
Thank you so much, Dr. Renyon. And thank you all for being here tonight. I want to say thank you so much to the Human Relations Commission for honoring me with this award and honoring me to be placed among the treasured and honored list of recipients that have come before me. I also want to say that I love this community. I love Fort Collins. I love being a part of your neighborhood, being here together with you today, and gathering together in the spirit of this award. I also know that we have a lot of work to do towards inclusion and diversity and equity in our community. And I think all of you would agree that this is the time to do it. So I'm not going to take up any more time hearing my words, but I would challenge all of you to go out and learn from your neighbors and learn from people you typically don't hear from very often, who might not show up to council meetings, who might not hear their voices heard on a regular basis, and invite them to be heard and to show up and to have their voices heard on a regular basis. Fort Collins is a lovely place to be, and I think we have so much more to do. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Cindy Davis, and I have the privilege of presenting the award winner for the HRC Senior Award, Dr. Tracy Thomas. I was really glad to be able to present this award because when I was 6 years old, my dad fell off the roof of our house, and we weren't sure that he was going to make it. And I was too little to be included in any of the parts of what was going on, but that didn't make me any less scared. But 4 days before that, I had gotten a poodle puppy for Christmas. And that poodle, every time the phone rang, I just grabbed a hold of that poodle and held on tight. She was my comfort, she was my rock, and she was my best friend at the time. And that's what Dr. Tracy Thomas is about. She's about knowing that pets enrich our lives, and they are what keep us going so many of the times. Dr. Thomas graduated at the top of her class from CSU in 1984, and she went on to build a very successful practice in Fort Collins. But by 1994, she couldn't ignore the alarming need for affordable pet care for our seniors. So with a compassionate heart and a lot of sweat and tears, she established Elder Pet Care here in Fort Collins. This is a community-oriented and nonprofit-supported veterinary practice with a mission to serve persons age 60 and up, and by enabling them to enjoy an enriched quality of life with healthy pets as their companions. The benefits that pets provide their owners are proven to be positively therapeutic. Studies show that senior citizens who own pets experience improved emotional and physical well-being. By offering unconditional affection and companionships, Pets have been proven to help lower blood pressure, decrease anxiety, and really provide a sense of security for others, for people who very frequently feel lonely and afraid. In her nomination form, Lori Hessel says of Dr. Thomas, she has provided low-cost veterinary care to the seniors of Northern Colorado since 1994. During that time, she has helped hundreds of seniors get the veterinary care for their beloved pets and assistance animals. Sometimes choosing to use her own funds, she has ensured that people are not turned away and do not have to choose between living expenses and taking care of their beloved pets. The recipients of the HRC Awards embody the spirit of inclusiveness, giving, and altruism that has made Fort Collins a better place for all people to live. Dr. Thomas, for 24 years, you have done just that. Thank you from the HRC and all of the seniors whose lives and pets have been touched by your generosity and compassion. Now, we weren't really surprised when we sent out the email to Dr. Thomas. We got a response back that said, I greatly appreciate this nomination. However, can I please send a representative in my place so that we don't have to close the veterinary clinic? Well, tonight, the clinic is just now closing at 5 o'clock, and accepting the award for Dr. Thomas is one of her colleagues, Mercedes McHugh.
Good evening, everyone. Just as Cindy said, I'm Mercedes. No, I don't own a Mercedes-Benz, darn it, but you can give me one of those. But someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago, Warren Buffett. I think of this quote, accepting this award on behalf of Dr. Thomas, just because the Fort Collins Human Relations Commission have truly planted those seedlings so that we today get to sit in the shade. And for the folks that also get to accept the Human Relations Commission Award, as well as Dr. Thomas, who are working hard to instill those seedlings of innovation, of progression, of inclusivity, diversity, and the future of progression. It's just an honor to be here. And on behalf of Elder Pet Care, Thomas Veterinary Services, and Dr. Thomas, we thank you for your continued support and dedication. And as we embark on this journey of futurity, let us plant those seedlings of progression and inclusivity. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Colleen Conway, HRC Commissioner, and it is my honor to introduce to you Bill Greenwood, this year's recipient of the HRC Police and Emergency Services Award. Bill, come on up. Those who serve our community as firefighters, emergency and first responders are expected to embody an above-average strength of character, empathy for your fellow human beings, courage, integrity, and intelligence, often caring for community members in their time of greatest need. Selfless service is a given, and Bill Greenwood easily exceeds this high bar of expectations. I have to let you folks know I've known Billy for a long time, and I held my breath because I could not participate in the selection of this award this year because I've known him for so long. So I'm so pleased that you did receive this award. I first met Billy, when he was all of 6 months old. He, his parents, Tinka and Clyde, and Sister Chrissy have held a place in my heart for over 40 years. Later in his life, our paths crossed professionally when I was employed as a nurse at the Larimer County Jail. Billy and his crew at the time would often respond to emergent incidents when our medical staff determined that one of our patients was in need of care beyond that which we could provide. Patients that we saw only as human were often viewed as malingerers, unworthy, and somehow less than by the public and even other medical professionals. Bill and his crew, over and beyond their obvious skills required by their profession, showed such patience and empathy that we knew they too saw only human beings in need. In 2008, faced with the tragic loss of their young son, Nicholas, Bill and Bernadette decided to reach out. I knew I'd do this. Rather than fold up, starting a nonprofit athletic club for children and youth, Grit Athletics. Bill coaches these young athletes in the art of reaching out to their fellow humans and challenging themselves to reach their goals by using grace, righteousness, intensity, and toughness, which is where the word comes from. Grants are offered for those youth who need financial assistance. There has been local and national recognition for these efforts. In 2011, the Character in Action Award, presented by Community of Character Initiative, and the Community Service Award for Children's Care in 2017. I think we can all agree that Bill's service, professionally and personally, is an immense asset to our community that we recognize today by presenting the 2018 Human Relations Award for Police and Emergency Services to him.
Well, thank you, Colleen. It's a big honor to be up here, especially being last, sitting and seeing everybody who's come up here before me. Not sure I belong in your graces here, but yeah, it's an honor to be here. I was looking at the artwork, The Gathering, and just kind of was thinking, you know, like I was telling Vic before, he said, well, there's a lot of nice things being said about you. And I said, well, I hang with the right people. And I would say that I couldn't do any of this by myself. God has sustained me and my family with his strength and grace. And he's gathered just the best people, even since I was 6 years old, around me to help with any of these endeavors, you know. And so I have a great crowd at home with my wife and kids, a great crowd at the Poudre Fire Authority that gathers around me, and a great crowd at Grit Athletics who gathers around. And I'm just a piece of that crowd, just my own little color and texture of my own that mixes with everybody else. And it's a real honor to come together and all work together to, I guess, just make a better community, make some change, as you spoke to earlier. I was glad that didn't actually mean make change. I'm not very good with numbers, so changing lives is a better thing for me to do. But thank you all. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Susan Matherin. I have the honor of awarding the organizational award this year to Foothills Unitarian Universalist Church. And Reverend Gretchen Haley may come up because she's going to accept the award. But she wanted the entire church to come with her. She mentioned on Sunday that she told the congregation about the award, and then she said, I almost said everybody's invited. I was like, oh my, I better get more food. It would take me more time than I have to share of all the things that Foothills Unitarian Church is involved with in the community. I will give you a synopsis of the heart of the church community. The core of this congregation is its commitment to take responsibility, show courage and humility as it supports and serves people historically on the margin. This is accomplished and carried out through relationships built with other community partners. These partnerships are built through the volunteers as set forward, sharing work, amplifying funds, mobilizing people, and providing an avenue for making others aware of the issues. Foothill collects some of the things that our Foothills does is they collect funds through their Share the Plate, in which money collected each service is shared equally with partnerships. And the partnerships are many. Let me go through a few of them. One of them is Homeward Alliance. It is a wraparound agency addressing homelessness in northern Colorado. As part of their One Village, One Family program, Foothills forms small groups to companion families from homelessness to stable housing. Another partnership is La Familia, the Family Center. It provides education and family strengthening services for the Latino community. Another partnership, La Cocina, provides a culturally sensitive and Spanish language safe space and therapeutic services for adults, children, and families. Foothills assists with ongoing fundraising efforts and through accompaniment of those who are in detention or who have been separated from their families due to detention or deportation. Another, Faith Family Hospitalities. Foothills is proud to be among the founding congregations in the partnership across the faith communities in Fort Collins to provide temporary housing to the families experiencing houselessness. Foothills works with Congregational Har Shalom to house families 3 to 4 times each year from Sunday to Sunday. The Food Bank for Larimer County, Foothills is grateful to work regularly in support of those who are experiencing food insecurities. Starting in October 2016, they were a pilot site for their new initiative to establish mobile pantry sites across northern Colorado. Since then, they have held a food bank on their campus twice every month where families work together to ensure that between 80 to 100 families receive food as is needed. Foothills is proud to be among the founding members of the Interfaith Sanctuary and Accompaniment Coalition of Northern Colorado, which is also known as ISAC, in support the immigration justice in our county, our state, and our country. Foothills provides a physical sponsorship of the Emergency Immigration Fund, which provides emergency financial support for individuals and families who have experienced a sudden change in the immigration status resulting in detention, deportation, or other significant stressors in the need of daily living. And Foothills is also the only congregation to become a sanctuary church, supporting those that have pending deportation. So thank you, and all the people that are part of Foothills Unitarian Church for all the things that you do to make this award possible for you. Yes. You want to say something? Yeah.
Well, I wonder if, thank you. So I wonder if the people who are here from Foothills would just come up just so that you could be recognized as well. So Susan was right. I announced it on Sunday, and I did. I didn't officially say come. I actually sent out an invitation to about 50 or so, and I was grateful that these guys could represent, because although I'm so grateful to be able to be here and receive the award, I'm receiving it on behalf of a congregation of about 800 people. And when I got the letter, I was thinking, just trying to think through each of those phrases of what we're recognizing here. And I could come up with a list easily just off the top of my head of 100, 150 people who so embody those values. And it is our pleasure and privilege to come together in a sense of a collective to create something together that we couldn't do on our own. So I want to say thank you to all of these folks and the hundreds that that are not able to be here tonight. I have just a few words. You asked a preacher to say a few words, so just give me a second. I also wanted to note thanks for the extra food. We appreciate it. I gave the heads up. We might have a few extra people, so I appreciate it. There are, as I was saying, there are so many people that we might have invited here or might be recognizing as a part of recognizing this congregation that is my privilege to serve. But that is what happens when you have a congregation that's just so overflowing with a sense of spirit of generosity. And that's what happens when you have this this power of doing things in a real community. Some of you may know the words of Margaret Mead. They're so famous now about never doubt the power of a small group of people to change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. What's interesting is actually the studies show that small groups of people do not change the world. It's small groups working with other small groups.
And so that is how I think about the work of the church and what I hope you heard and what Susan shared, in that we have the chance to work with other groups. And it's in the coming together across those different groups that real transformational change is possible. And I think that's the vision of, like, each of these folks here is a part of a different piece of the work of the church. These are my children behind me. They too are a part of the important work of the church, and it is our pleasure and privilege to then get to know and then spread ideas across these different groups so that it truly can become transformational for ourselves and for the wider community. We talk about churches having their own DNA sometimes, and it is it just inherited this DNA that was passed to us. And just as one small example, we know that our congregation in the 1950s and the minister then, we were much smaller then, but still we were a part of the work in Fort Collins to address what was then the racist practice of white trade only, and the signs that were up in many of the stores then saying no Mexicans, no dogs. As I said, like, not just congregations have their own DNA, but so do whole communities. And in that, we recognize there remains the ripple effects of those practices in our community today. And it is not just our privilege and our honor to try to work with the goodness of the DNA that's passed on, but also to address those things that remain broken and unhealed in our wider community, and to be a part of continuing the transformation that still calls us today. Our mission is to, thank you. Our mission a few years ago, you said the word unleash in what you said. Our mission is to unleash courageous love, and that is a theological claim, because the word unleash means that something already exists, and our work is to simply let it go, let it off its leash, right? When in the election of 2016, people talked about that hate had been unleashed. And it was we suddenly realized that our mission was perfect to meet that, because we wanted to in turn unleash the courageous love that pre-exists. And certainly Fort Collins has plenty of that. And so we will continue to do and answer the call of unleashing courageous love. And thank you for working in partnership with us so that we can continue the healing that calls us all. Thank you.
At this time, we'd like to invite all of the award recipients up to the front with us here for the Marcille N. Wood Award, as well as the HRC Award. Yeah. And Kristen and Bob, as well. We celebrate your commitment and dedication. We count on you to help us remember to shed intolerance and adopt acceptance every day.
Thank you for your contributions to the City of Fort Collins. Let's have one more round of applause for the recipients. Our photographer will now take some formal photos of the recipients. We'd like to invite you all to stay for the Mayor's Human Rights Day proclamation presented by the HRC. Thank you all so much for attending, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you. And our third and final proclamation this evening proclaims December 4th as International Human Rights Day, and it will be accepted by Julia Makowicz, and she's the chair of the Human Rights Commission. Please come forward. And we just had a wonderful award ceremony. I'm sure you'll talk about that, but thank you so much for everything you do with the Women's Commission and you do for our community. So let me read the proclamation. Whereas Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted by the United Nations December 10th, 1948. And whereas it was the first time a document declaring human rights and fundamental freedoms was adopted by an international organization, and it continues to have universal value in defending and advancing people's rights. And whereas America's commitment to individual freedom and democracy provides the foundation for our society, and the Bill of Rights serves to guide our people and our government to ensure basic human rights and liberties. And whereas, as a community, We are committed to upholding these principles and making Fort Collins a place where all citizens have the opportunity to voice their opinions, practice their faith, and enjoy blessings of freedom. And whereas our community will find encouragement in rallying together to defend human rights, by working together to advance the rights of all people, we will help to build mutual trust and harmony for all individuals in our community. We will be an inclusive community that promotes equity and a sense of safety, worth, and dignity for all. Now, therefore, I, Wade Troxell, Mayor of the City of Fort Collins, do hereby proclaim December 4th as International Human Rights Day in the City of Fort Collins, and hereby encourage all of our residents, businesses, and institutions to recognize International Rights Day 2018 by observing our nation's Bill of Rights and pledging to uphold the universal rights of liberty and justice that define our dreams and shapes our hopes that we will face these challenges of a new era. Thank you so much, Julia, for being here, and thanks for all that you do. Please.
Thank you. It's quite fitting to be able to celebrate so many members of the community in commemoration of International Human Rights Day. These individuals have made a tremendous impact in our community and are helping to shape the world. The Human Relations Commission's primary goals are to promote proactive inclusion and deeper understanding for diversity through education, advocacy, and collaboration. This year, 2018, marks the 54th anniversary of the Human Relations Commission. This milestone demonstrates our city's long-standing commitment to ensuring that all individuals are welcomed and valued. On behalf of the Human Relations Commission, thank you for the opportunity to serve in an advisory capacity to the City Council and to serve community members of the City of Fort Collins. Again, our sincerest congratulations to our honorees this evening.
Yep. Thank you so much, Julia. Thanks for all you do. Thank you.